Hello. I'm going to try this for a second time. So, as before, I'll give it a minute. Thought I'd give you an update on what's going on with me since I've been pretty sick, how that's coming along, stuff like that. And October, I had COVID, and I think after COVID, I coughed for like until the end of December. Then once I started feeling better from COVID, which took a while, that was brutal. Totally disoriented. Crazy. Then right after Christmas, I pretty much got the flu. Not like right after, but close enough. And the flu was brutal. Almost like COVID, but not as like bizarre, you know. So having back to back COVID then flu, that was rough. So after COVID, I remember I went through a really bad wave of let me set this up. A really bad wave. And then after the flu, I started going through a pretty bad wave. But the thing is, it's not letting up. I've also been through a lot of shit too, because it's like what happened is I was starting to go through a bad wave, and I almost got hit by a fire truck, and that pretty much fucked my nervous system. I was in I was just driving. It was in the middle of the day, and going through an intersection. Next thing I know, this fire truck, yeah, his lights were on, but no siren. I didn't have any music on, so I wasn't missing anything. And he just nearly slammed the side of my car. So he slammed on his brakes, and he pretty much stopped about 2 feet from my car. Put me through fucking hell. So this wave has been brutal. And when I do start feeling better, I get confident that I'm getting better, and then it crashes again. It's been really scary, to be honest. So just getting through some stuff. I've been able to get out a little bit. When I was starting to feel a little better, I got out and all that stuff, you know. And I don't know, things are, other than my wave, life is going okay. I mean, I have a very supportive girlfriend now. That's awesome. I'm still working and stuff. I mean, that's a struggle. It's a struggle working, just being in these waves and stuff like that, and you know. But is what it is. It's probably the worst wave I've been in a long, long time. But I mean, when I think about it, I sit and think, well, I just went from COVID to the flu on a pretty much a damaged, or whatever you want to call it, totally sensitized nervous system. So it's giving me massive physical and mental issues. Let me see what you said. I'm trying to get condiments here. Well, as Patricia says, which is absolutely true, amazing how after all these years we can get scared from these wave symptoms. Well, my problem is they're always, you know, and I'm sure this is for everybody, they're always slightly different. And that's what scares me, because it feels different. And then it makes me think that they're not going to go away. You know, I mean, they always do. But it's also like so brutal sometimes, and they stick around for so long. Like, I haven't been in a wave this long in a long time. So it makes me think like, well, okay, what did I do wrong? And did I really fuck up? You know, I mean, I'm trying to build my life here, and here I am in this major wave, and I can barely do anything. I mean, I always sound okay, and that fools everybody because I talk well, you know, but that's not saying my symptoms aren't there. You know, I've just learned to deal with it. Yeah, intensity can be way different. Just the symptoms in general can be different. It's always, you just never know what to expect. And I still have a cough. So that's making me, I'm still coughing up stuff, you know. And I mean, I didn't take any antibiotics or anything, so everything's just lasting a lot longer. It's not getting worse, so there's that. But anyway, um, when you have a sensitized nervous system from getting pulled off of medications, and then you're put on medications you should have never been on, that you're still tapering, but yet I haven't tapered in so long. But being on a medication I shouldn't be on, it just constantly itches your nervous system. And it's so impossible to ever feel well. I can't remember the last time I felt well. I'm better, not right now per se, but I'm better than I used to be because I've been getting off the Remeron, you know, tapering it. And it's been years since the whole Benzo incident, but it was so harsh. It pretty much just fucked up, gave me, you know, brain damage and nervous system damage. You know, I don't really usually like to say damage because damage, you know, kind of states that it's, you know, permanent, which it's not permanent, but it's definitely a type of damage. But my brain has been so fucked up. I hate the mental symptoms the most. That's what really stops me from doing stuff because I can't afford it to get worse. You know, I can't afford it to get worse because it's been bad. So, but I, in general, my life is decent right now. You know, with what's going on with it. Like I said, you know, it's like I'm in a new relationship, which is much healthier than any of my past relationships, and that's great. You know, it brings me emotional level that is really good. And that's you know, that's just another thing in this, you know, it's like being sick and having chronic illness. You know, it's hard to bring people into your life like that, but it's like, you know, we deserve people in our lives as well, but as long as you're open and honest about you know, what you're about, what you can handle and what you can't handle. And sometimes you push harder because you want to. And you sometimes forget what you can and can't handle. I mean, I do that all the time. But I've done that since day one, so that's nothing new. I've always pushed things too far. And that's okay. You know, you learn your limits. I'm still learning who I am now, you know. I'm learning what I can and can't handle. And sometimes I set myself back, and that's, you know, up to me to then recalculate next time I do those things, stuff like that. But, you know, I know a lot of people wondered what it's like to have COVID or flu and benzo withdrawal, or having benzo withdrawal syndrome being protracted or whatever. And yeah, it's just as brutal as you think. But honestly, most of my benzo symptoms didn't get worse till like COVID was like going away, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's like COVID, it was really bad, and then COVID would calm down, and then the benzo symptoms would go crazy. So it's like you get sick twice, more or less. Same thing happened with the flu. You know, I had the major flu. I was so fucking sick, and then after that started to calm down, the benzo symptoms went crazy. So it's just a constant battle. But anyway, that's what's going on. So, we do survive in this situation. As hard as it is. When your body feels like it's just crumbling. And nobody's ever going to grasp what it's like. They're just not. And that's okay, because they shouldn't. No, unless you're going through it, nobody should understand what it's like. Because you could have a list of 100 symptoms and tell somebody, and they're never going to grasp that's what you're really going through, because it seems unfathomable of something that the human body and brain can actually live with. So like when I say I'm in really bad shape, it's something that people would end up in the ER or hospital for, but here we are just having to sit around and wait for it to go away. It's unreal, it's just unreal. And the fact that I know I'm going to go through this for a long time just because I'm on Remeron, it sucks. The drug is brutal. And even if the drug wasn't brutal, no matter pretty much what you're on, if you have a sensitized nervous system, it's like nearly impossible to get off these medications. Unless you want to suffer so much that, and that's the thing is, I won't taper more than I have to, just because I don't want to end up super suicidal. I do get suicidal, but I don't want it to get to the point that there's no turning back, because that's not what I want to do. So just have to be careful. And I do plan on tapering again. I mean, my idea is probably end of March. I don't know. It all depends on how I'm feeling then, but that's the idea. There's a few things I want to do, and I have plans. And I still want to live a life, So like tapering is going to be far and few between, and it's going to take me many, many years to get off. But I also want to live my life, so it's a definite balancing act. Well, I appreciate everybody who supports me, and I hope these videos at least help, if not entertain you. Just so you're not alone, even though it feels like you're alone, and you feel like everything's gonna, it's like it's never gonna end. Of course it feels that way. I've been doing this for over 6.5 years. But if you stay on the path, this is me just being positive here. I mean, sometimes I don't even believe it, but I know it's true. Stay on the path, and if you're tapering other meds, just keep it going. And just give it time, Be careful with stuff. You don't have to worry about drinking anymore and all that shit. Just screw that stuff, Alcohol will set you back to a point that you might not be able to get back from. So fuck drinking, Watch your diets and be careful. Even exercise can throw you into the fucking waves that are really hard, Just be careful and do what you just listen to your bodies, That's all you can do. I listen to mine all the time, and sometimes I go against it, and I make things worse. A lot of times I have to go out for work, even in these terrible waves. I have to go out. The more I'm on my feet, the worse I get. I think like the more I'm on my feet, my heart rate is higher, and the higher my heart rate is the worse my wave gets. I've kind of learned that in time. But I have to do it. I can't just sit all day. That's no life. If I was in the hospital next week and I was on my deathbed, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? This last year, I've accomplished more in a long time. As hard as it was. I met a girl that changed my life. That would have never happened if I just sat on my ass. There's just so many different things. It's like I've got good friends, and I've got a decent place to live, even though it's not ideal. But I've made this all happen for myself in a bad place, you know, mentally, physically. And sometimes I have no idea how I did it. But I did it, you know. I'm not the healthiest, you know. My diet's perfect, but, you know, I can tell I'm losing more weight again. And, you know, this shit's scary. It can get so bad. This wave I've been in has been the longest wave I've been in a long time. And honestly, it scares me. So I'm hoping next video I'll be more out of this wave. And I could be, you know, and look back at this. Well, we'll see. But anyway, thanks anybody who chimed in and said hello. I'll try to be on again next week and give you an update. I just have so much going on trying to do what I'm doing. It's just impossible. But, you know, you just take it day by day. That's all you can do. It's survival, you know. Especially years ago, it was pure survival. Now it's just like, just getting through, you know. It's like the amount of money I make isn't shit, but it's enough to survive. It's just survival. And I hate that life ended up being this way, because I know I'm a decent guy, you know, and I think I deserve a lot more, but I can't have it. Not yet. Maybe one day. I hope I make it till then. There's a lot of times I think there's no way I'll make it, you know, but we'll see. One day at a time. Anyway, I'm off. You have a great night, and yeah, I'll try to be on next week, so take care.